There are many isekai anime out there, but some of them are great and some are bad. So in this video I will show you top 10 isekai anime of the decade. Number 10. Gate. Off-duty Japan Self-Defense Forces officer and otaku Yuji Itami is on his way to attend a doujin convention in Ginza, Tokyo when a mysterious portal in the shape of a large gate suddenly appears. From this gate, supernatural creatures and warriors clad in medieval armor emerge, charging through the city, killing and destroying everything in their path. With swift actions, Yuji saves as many lives as he can while the rest of the JSDF direct their efforts towards stopping the invasion. 3 months after the attack, Yuji has been tasked with leading a special recon team, as part of a JSDF task force, that will be sent to the world beyond the gate, now being referred to as the Special Region. They must travel into this unknown world in order to learn more about what they are dealing with and attempt to befriend the locals in hopes of creating peaceful ties with the ruling empire. But if they fail, they face the consequence of participating in a devastating war that will engulf both sides of the gate. Number 9. Log Horizon. In the blink of an eye, 30,000 bewildered Japanese gamers are whisked from their everyday lives into the world of the popular MMORPG, Elder Tale, after the game's latest update, unable to log out. Among them is the socially awkward college student Shiro, whose confusion and shock lasts only a moment as, a veteran of the game, he immediately sets out to explore the limits of his new reality. Shiro must learn to live in this new world, leading others and negotiating with the NPC natives in order to bring stability to the virtual city of Akihabara. He is joined by his unfortunate friend Natsugu, having logged in for the first time in years only to find himself trapped, and Akatsuki, a petite but fierce assassin who labels Shiro as her master. A tale of fantasy, adventure, and politics, Log Horizon explores the elements of gaming through the eyes of a master strategist who attempts to make the best of a puzzling situation. Number 8. Arifureta. From commonplace to world's strongest, the ordinary life of 17-year-old otaku Hajime Nagumo is disrupted when he and his classmates are summoned to a fantasy world and tasked with saving mankind. While his classmates are gifted with impressive abilities useful in combat, Hajime is belittled for only gaining an inferior transmutation skill that lacks any real offensive power. During an expedition in the Great Orcus Labyrinth, Hajime is betrayed by one of his classmates, plummeting him to the bottom of an abyss. Though he survives the fall, Hajime is faced with menacing monsters and misfortunes that send him spiraling into a grim nightmare. Desperate to live and return home one day, he resolves to fight for his survival, only to meet an imprisoned vampire he names Yu, who is also seeking to escape the labyrinth. Taking an interest in him, Yu and a few others along the way accompany Hajime on his journey to find a way back home, while steadily transforming from commonplace to the world's strongest. Number 7. Konosuba. God's blessing on this wonderful world. After dying a laughable and pathetic death on his way back from buying a game, high school student and recluse Kazuma Sato finds himself sitting before a beautiful but obnoxious goddess named Aqua. She provides the NET with 2 options: continue on to heaven or reincarnate in every gamer's dream, a real fantasy world. Choosing to start a new life, Kazuma is quickly tasked with defeating a demon king who is terrorizing villages. But before he goes, he can choose one item of any kind to aid him in his quest, and the future hero selects Aqua. But Kazuma has made a grave mistake. Aqua is completely useless. Unfortunately, their troubles don't end here. It turns out that living in such a world is far different from how it plays out in a game. Instead of going on a thrilling adventure, the duo must first work to pay for their living expenses. Indeed, their misfortunes have only just begun. Number 6. Re-Zero. Starting life in another world. When Subaru Natsuki leaves the convenience store, the last thing he expects is to be wrenched from his everyday life and dropped into a fantasy world. Things are not looking good for the bewildered teenager. However, not long after his arrival, he is attacked by some thugs. Armed with only a bag of groceries and a now useless cell phone, he is quickly beaten to a pulp. Fortunately, a mysterious beauty named Satella, in hot pursuit after the one who stole her insignia, happens upon Subaru and saves him. In order to thank the honest and kind-hearted girl, Subaru offers to help in her search, and later that night, he even finds the whereabouts of that which she seeks. But unbeknownst to them, a much darker force stalks the pair from the shadows, and just minutes after locating the insignia, Subaru and Satella are brutally murdered. However, Subaru immediately reawakens to a familiar scene, confronted by the same group of thugs, meeting Satella all over again. The enigma deepens as history inexplicably repeats itself. Number 5. Saga of Tanya the Evil. Tanya de Geerchaf is a young soldier infamous for predatorial-like ruthlessness and an uncanny, tactical aptitude, earning her the nickname of the Devil of the Rhine. Underneath her innocuous appearance, however, lies the soul of a man who challenged being X, the self-proclaimed god, to a battle of wits, which resulted in him being reincarnated as a little girl into a world of magical warfare. Hellbent on defiance, Tanya resolves to ascend the ranks of her country's military as it slowly plunges into world war. With only being X proving to be the strongest obstacle in recreating the peaceful life she once knew. But her perceptive actions and combat initiative have an unintended side effect, propelling the mighty empire into becoming one of the most powerful nations in mankind's history. Number 4. No Game No Life. 16 sentient races inhabit Disboard, a world overseen by Tet, the one true god. The lowest of the 16, humanity, consists of humans, a race with no affinity for magic. In a place where everything is decided through simple games, humankind seems to have no way out of their predicament, but the arrival of two outsiders poses a change. On Earth, step-siblings Sora and Shiro are two inseparable shut-ins who dominate various online games under the username blank. While notorious on the internet, the pair believe that life is merely another dull game. However, after responding to a message from an unknown user, they are suddenly transported to Disboard. The mysterious sender turns out to be Tet, who informs them about the world's absolute rules. After Tet leaves, Sora and Shiro begin their search for more information and a place to stay, taking them to Elkia, humanity's only remaining kingdom. Number 3. The Rising of the Shield Hero. The four cardinal heroes are a group of ordinary men from modern-day Japan summoned to the kingdom of Melromark to become its saviors. Melromark is a country plagued by the waves of catastrophe that have repeatedly ravaged the land and brought disaster to its citizens for centuries. The four heroes are respectively bestowed a sword, spear, bow, and shield to vanquish these waves. Naofumi Iwatani, an otaku, becomes cursed with the fate of being the shield hero. Armed with only a measly shield, Naofumi is belittled and ridiculed by his fellow heroes and the kingdom's people due to his weak offensive capabilities and lackluster personality. What happened with Naofumi Iwatani? Find out in the anime. Number 2. Overlord. The final hour of the popular virtual reality game Yggdrasil has come. However, Momonga, a powerful wizard and master of the Dark Guild Ains Olgaun, decides to spend his last few moments in the game as the servers begin to shut down. To his surprise, despite the clock having struck midnight, Momonga is still fully conscious as his character and, moreover, the non-player characters appear to have developed personalities of their own. Confronted with this abnormal situation, Momonga commands his loyal servants to help him investigate and take control of this new world, with the hopes of figuring out what has caused this development and if there may be others in the same predicament. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. 37-year-old Satoru Mikami is a typical corporate worker, who is perfectly content with his monotonous lifestyle in Tokyo, other than failing to nail down a girlfriend even once throughout his life. In the midst of a casual encounter with his colleague, he falls victim to a random assailant on the streets and is stabbed. However, while succumbing to his injuries, a peculiar voice echoes in his mind, and recites a bunch of commands which the dying man cannot make sense of. When Satoru regains consciousness, he discovers that he has reincarnated as a goop of slime in an unfamiliar realm. What is going to happen next? Watch on anime.